Your car just broke down. $23. So you put it on a card. Now you cannot sleep. That is not a money problem. It is a system problem. Tonight you learn the exact system. Any income, starting from zero. Stay to the end, this is the one. You work hard, the money comes in, and somehow it disappears. One unexpected expense and everything unravels. Every single time. This is not a personal failure. Nobody taught you the system. The money was there. It just never had a direction before it disappeared. One person has 3 months saved, the other has nothing. Same building, same rent. The difference between them is not income. It is one decision made at the right moment. The system moves money before your habits can redirect it. That is the entire secret. You do not need more money to start. You need the architecture. It takes 4 minutes to build. In this video, you will learn 6 things. Why you have nothing saved, what the right target actually is, how to automate it completely, what it actually buys you beyond money, the Stoic philosophy behind why reserves change everything, and exactly what to do tonight. 6 sections, 1 evening. The floor of your financial life gets built tonight. Section 1, why you have nothing saved. Most people save what is left over at the end of the month. That is the system, and that is exactly why most people save nothing. The problem is not the amount you earn. The problem is the order. Life expands to fill every dollar before savings ever gets its turn. Most people have no idea how much they spend on things they would not miss. The emergency fund does not require sacrifice. It requires awareness. The reason is almost never income. It is system. People who save successfully do not have more discipline. They have better architecture. Automation is the entire strategy. When the transfer happens before you see the money, it is saved. When you must choose, life wins. The first money for your emergency fund almost always already exists in your budget. It is going somewhere you would not fight to protect. Move savings to the top of the budget. Make it a bill you pay yourself. What remains is what you actually have to live on. Section 2, the right target. There are 2 stages. The starter fund of $1,000, then 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. You begin with stage 1 only. To find your real target, list only what you cannot eliminate in a crisis. Not your lifestyle, your survival number. It is always smaller than expected. That number is not the enemy. It is the destination, and destinations are only intimidating before you map the route to them clearly. When you see the timeline, the target stops being abstract. 28 months of automatic transfers. Most people can start at 200 without drama. Separating the stages is not just accounting. It is psychological. Reaching $1,000 first gives you a win. Wins sustain the practice. The $1,000 milestone covers most single emergencies. A car repair, a medical bill, a broken appliance without touching a credit card. The plan fits on 1 page. That is intentional. Complexity kills execution. The simpler the system, the more reliably it runs for years. Section 3, the automation system. The system takes 4 minutes to build and then runs without your involvement for years. That 4-minute decision is worth more than hours of reading about money. The no debit card rule is the most important design choice. When accessing the fund requires a 2-day bank transfer, the impulse to use it almost always passes. Budget hierarchy is everything. What appears first gets funded first. Move the fund to the top and the entire outcome changes without changing the total income. For irregular income, a percentage beats a fixed amount. 10% of every payment transferred the same day it lands. No decision required each time. Windfalls are the fastest accelerators available. Tax refunds, bonuses, gifts, 50% to the fund before any spending decision is made. Reaching the first milestone confirms the system works. Confirmation is powerful. Most people who reach $1,000 continue because the identity has changed. The system is teachable in 5 minutes. If you cannot explain your financial system in 5 minutes, it is too complex to follow under real pressure. Section 4, what the fund actually buys you. The emergency fund does not just protect your bank account. It protects your nervous system. Knowing the buffer exists changes how you experience every single day, not just the emergencies. When you have the fund, bad news changes category. It moves from catastrophe to inconvenience. That reclassification happens not because the world changed. It happens because the math finally supports you. The emergency fund is negotiating leverage with your own life. When you need every paycheck to survive, you cannot say no to a bad situation, a toxic job, or an underpaying offer. Financial peace is not having everything figured out. It is knowing that one unexpected event will not destroy what you have built. That knowledge is what the fund purchases. Sleep is how it pays you back. No lasting structure was ever built without a foundation poured first. No lasting financial life was ever built without the emergency fund established first. The metaphor is exact. The sequence is non-negotiable. Section 5, the Stoic Foundation. Marcus Aurelius prepared for difficulty before it arrived. He called it premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. The emergency fund is the financial version of that exact practice. The Romans built redundancy into everything. They did not assume the first system would hold. They built the backup before they needed it. The emergency fund is the aqueduct of your financial life. Seneca wrote, "Rehearse poverty, not to suffer it, but to remove its power over you." When you have the fund, the rehearsal reveals that the worst case is manageable. That changes your relationship with fear permanently. The Stoic did not seek to control the world. He sought to be prepared for it. The emergency fund is that preparation made tangible. It does not stop bad things from happening. It stops them from becoming catastrophic. The Stoic relationship with money was never about accumulation. It was about sufficiency, having enough to remove the fear. The emergency fund is the minimum expression of that sufficiency. It is the first act of financial stoicism. Section 6, what to do tonight. 5 moves, no theory, starting now. Tonight, open the account. Separate bank if possible, no debit card. Name it emergency fund. The account existing is the beginning. Everything builds from it being real and separate. Calculate your survival number tonight. Essential expenses only. Multiply by 3. That is your target. Divide by 12. That is your monthly contribution. Write all 4 numbers on one page before you sleep. Set the automatic transfer tonight. Any amount. $5, $25. Whatever is honest for your situation right now. The amount grows, the automation is what matters most. Write your windfall rule tonight before the next one arrives. 50% of any bonus, refund, or gift goes directly to the fund. The rule decided in calm protects you from the spending reflex in the moment. You came into this video sitting on the side of a highway with $23. You are leaving with the exact system to make sure that never happens again. That man is not richer than you. He built the fund before he needed it. The car broke down for both of them. Only one of them had a floor to stand on when it did. The plan is simple. The account is separate. The transfer is automatic. The target is written. That is the entire system. Everything else is time and consistency applied to something that now has a direction. Marcus Aurelius prepared for the hardest days before they arrived. Not with fear, with architecture. You are building the same architecture tonight. One account, one transfer, one decision that changes every emergency that follows. That jar is proof, not of wealth, of the version of you who is protected. Every dollar added is one more day the worst case becomes survivable instead of catastrophic. The jar does not care how small you start. Think clearly, build wealth. The rational